I think as a modern woman, a lot more things will start making sense in regards to men when you start thinking of sperm as a parasite. Now, sperm is the cell that fertilizes the egg that leads to procreation and continues the human species. And this is why the hosts of this parasite, so to speak, are always thinking, as we say, with their private part. They understand that the continuation of what they host is reliant upon them fertilizing an egg and spreading what they have into the life of a woman. So when you're a holder of this, you have a different brain, you have a survival mind, because one thing about a parasite is it need hosts to live off of, and the better it can spread to others, the more impactful it is as a parasite. And even if you look at sperm under a microscope, it moves like you see the worms do that we pull out of different meats. It is an organism that seeks survival and literally swims towards what it thinks will ensure that survival. And another key thing about a parasite is it lives on you and drains you in order to continue living and spreading. Once sperm gets to what it's meant to fertilize, your life doesn't necessarily become easier because you're pregnant, and your life doesn't become easier when you have children. If that's not something you want to do, you are going to have a parasitic relationship with what it is you're pursuing, which may be parenthood, because you're not even in a headspace to see the symbiotic relationship that can be built through parenting, which is learning from your child as much as your child learns from you. And many people do grow up to be parasitic in nature in their own family unit because they have now acted as a host to something that was already parasitic to them and their lifestyle. Not only that, even the way sperm operates in the body, where it is input is not where it stays. In fact, there have been studies and research of autopsies done on women where the sperm of men were living in their bodies, sometimes behind their eyes, near their brain, and in other parts of their bodies it could swim to. It acts like a parasite in nature. It can act as a parasite does, drain your energy, drain your life force, and live off of you, especially if it finds you at a time where your lifestyle is not fit for the impacts of coming in contact with this parasite, so to speak. As stated before, natural hosts of this parasite, men, are often survival brained. As soon as they infect you, many of them are out. The parasite has done its job through its host. It's spread its seed essentially and has now taken root in another body that will lead to the creation that could lead to another person down the line that could host what could be a parasite to women that aren't ready to take on what comes with that entering your body. A lot of the behaviors of men begin making sense when you just look at it on this level. A man doesn't have to be good to your life. In fact, he could be a detriment to you, but that won't stop him from having raw sex with you. And that won't stop the impacts of having raw sex with somebody from draining you and depleting you, especially if this is not something you intended. The niceties you're shown, the way somebody wants to sleep with you. If they are thinking with their private parts, they are therefore thinking on behalf of what they host, the parasite that is directing their actions, something that is very common amongst parasites within the body. When we try to get rid of these things, we have to use spermicide, something that literally will kill off the nature of this organism from ceasing its intended purpose of swimming towards survival. Once you start viewing interactions between men and women, sensuality, and begin putting it in conversation with the habits of parasitic beings, you'll see exactly what makes me say,
I am asexual as fuck. And prior to me being asexual as fuck, I was celibate for what now? 7 years? So 7 years ago, when I was intimate with a man, I kicked it with him for like 2 weeks. Before that, I was celibate for 8 years. And that 8-year period, before that 8-year period, I was with someone for 10 months. Before him, I was celibate for 8 years. I'm realizing now as a woman in my 50s that I have not had a lot of sex with men, even though I was male-centered back then. I was male-centered. And I wanted to be in a relationship where I thought men and women were supposed to be together. I thought that I wanted to be married. I thought that, I required a man for protection and for, financial stability and all the things that patriarchy just beats women over the head with. it's all a lie, it's all a trick, you know. But this, when I came across this clip, I was like, it's late, it's like 8, 9 o'clock where I am PM. And I was like, I have to share this. I have to share this right now. I was fresh on my mind, because if I don't, then I won't do it tomorrow. You know what I'm saying? I'll be moved on to something else. And I really don't fuck with social media like that. You know, that I'm not a content creator. You know, I don't post every day. I don't post several times a week. I don't do none of that shit. I live out loud. I be minding my business. And I really don't care for coming online doing anything personally other than watching stuff, watching what other people are doing. I'm just saying, but listen, had I known back then what I know now as a woman, as a divine feminine, I would have stayed a virgin. I would have never, ever laid and opened my legs and opened up my womb and my body to an XY. And knowing what I know now, with what's all being revealed about who and what men really are, in relationship to women, in relationship to children, in relationship to this earth, I wouldn't have had shit to do with them. And if I wanted to become a mother, I would have gotten artificial insemination. But I surely wouldn't have spent decades trying to get a soulmate or find the right one when there is no right. It's all men. They all the same. It's all the system of patriarchy. I don't give a shit what nobody says. Like, this whole semen is parasite thing, I see it clear. I see it clear as day. But it don't bother me, because I don't have any intention of ever having sex with a man again, or with a woman for that matter. I am asexual. I have no sexual attraction to nobody. But my God, there are so many scientific and medical statistics and data and information coming out about what semen is and the effects that it has on and in the female body, and it's just fucking nasty. Lower the birth rates. Lower their birth rates. They just dominate and destroy, and as men have the true nature, it's very parasitical. I can see it with my eyes closed, and I hope y'all see that shit too.